Well, just moving on, and here's one close to my heart, a travel fact you probably don't know. More than 140 different languages are spoken in the Canadian city of Toronto, making it one of the most multicultural destinations in the whole world. It's a great place to visit, perhaps maybe so in the warm weather, with great restaurants, bars and festivals drawing crowds to the outdoors, but just don't talk to any Torontonian about the traffic. Joining us now to tell us more about visiting Toronto is Adam Ford. He's from the Big Bus Tour and Travel Guide. Adam, welcome to the program. Full disclosure, I just spent 6 months in Toronto, and the locals, by the way, call it Toronto.
Okay, Nadine, I'm going to be preaching to the converted here, I can tell.
Absolutely, I do. I think it's a great city, and it's a great city if eating is one of those things you love to do.
Oh, absolutely. Look, it is a great city. I think for many Australian travellers, Canada is a place of spectacular natural beauty. But of course, it's more than that, as you say. It's got that urban edge. Toronto is the country's biggest city. Fantastic eateries across the city. Two I'm going to recommend today. The first one is Nota Bene. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a fine dining Canadian cuisine experience. It's been consistently voted within the top 10 restaurants in Canada a number of times. So check that one out. They do a fantastic Nova Scotia lobster, which is just incredible. The second restaurant I'm going to recommend, if you really want to push the boat out on a fine dining experience, head up to the 54th floor of the Toronto Dominion Centre. That's where you'll find Canoe with fantastic views of Lake Ontario. Another fine dining experience. They also do something there called a Taste of Arcadia tasting menu, which is 8 courses. Now, that draws back on influences from the original settlement in New France of Acadia, back in the 1600s. So a lot of the ingredients on the menu sort of are what would have been consumed at the time. You've got things, desserts like taffy molasses and that sort of thing. So that's a really interesting one as well, Canoe.
Yeah, and those restaurants are fantastic. But one of the other things about Toronto has just got amazing cultural food as well. You can get the best Vietnamese pho in Toronto. You can get a $3 falafel in Kensington Market, which is very high up my places that you would need to visit in Toronto as well. And it's interesting as well because I would say my experience in Toronto last time was that it's becoming very much more Australian in terms of coffee. I could actually go and order a flat white. 2 years ago, nobody would have known what I was talking about.
Now, Nadine, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but we all know that coffee in North America can be a little bit hit and miss. But I'm pleased to say Toronto is towing the line. There's some great cafes around, including Jimmy's Coffee. Now, they've got 3 outlets around town. One of them is in Kensington Market, which you just mentioned, really eclectic neighbourhood on the edge of downtown there. Also, have you tried Deneen Coffee & Co. on the corner of Yonge or Yong?
Young. You pronounce it exactly like my Australian husband. It's Yonge Street, yeah.
I knew you'd catch me out eventually. On the corner there, and that's in a really historic building. It's one of Toronto's oldest buildings, but a fantastic espresso menu and a great bakery as well. So definitely worth checking that out, Deneen Coffee & Co.
Yeah, Portuguese custard tarts in Toronto also are amazing. Now, what's on your list of things to see and do? We'll compare notes.
Well, there's lots to see and do in Toronto, and look, you know, we've only got a limited amount of time. I counted them up. There are 70 galleries and museums in Toronto. That's a huge number. If you've only got time for one, head to the Art Gallery of Ontario. They've got a collection there of 90,000 pieces and a fantastic collection of Canadian contemporary art. So not only works by painters, but also things like video, sculpture, and all those different types of mediums. So definitely worth checking that out. Most people are, of course, going to want to head to the top of the CN Tower for the views across the city and Lake Ontario. If you want to take it a little step further, head out and do Edge Walk, which is the walkway around the top of the viewing pod. You can go out there, you're hooked onto the main structure, but you're actually moving around the platform freely. It sounds pretty, or it looks pretty tough to me, and I actually found the glass tiles set in the floor inside to be enough of a challenge. What about you?
Yeah, I'd agree. I have not done the walk outside. The glass floors were enough to end that one for me. Now, if you wanted to venture a little bit outside of Toronto, there's so many places that you can get to within, a few hours. That's, I guess, the beauty of being in that sort of central location. Now, you've got Niagara Falls on your list, but I'm going to add to that and say nobody should go to Niagara Falls without first going through Niagara on the Lake on the way down there. Have you done so?
I have, and I was lucky enough to drop into Fort George. And the day we went there, they had this incredible recreation of the Battle of 1812. It was extraordinary. There were thousands of people involved in it. Absolutely amazing.
Okay, and where would you recommend staying in Toronto? I'm fortunate enough, I'm staying with friends, with family, although I do love being around that West Queen West area that Vogue named one of the, well, I think the most fashionable neighbourhood in North America.
Yeah, well, it's funny you should mention that because I think one of the hotels I've got for you is located around that area, the Thompson Toronto.
It is.
Now, if you're looking for an A-list hotel, this is renowned as a celebrity bolt hole. And they very kindly sent me a list of celebrities that have been spotted at the hotel, and I'm just going to read you a few of the names from this list. You've got Jake Gyllenhaal, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Kate Hudson, Bill Murray, Meryl Streep, Julia Roberts. The list goes on and on and on, all the way down to the bottom. Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper. I think someone needs to update this.
Yeah, they do. They do. Justin Trudeau's a little bit more swank.
Yeah, and look, a great hotel though, and it's Toronto's only hotel with a rooftop pool and bar. So if you want to catch some rays next to George Clooney, that could well be the spot for you.
You'd want to do it when the Toronto International Film Fest is on, of course. And anything else you can sort of give us as tips?
Well, I just want to make a quick special mention of the Fairmont Royal York Hotel. I've got a really soft spot for the Canadian Pacific Railway hotels. They were built around the turn of the century to really promote local tourism. There's a string of them across the country. The Fairmont Royal York Hotel has gone through an extensive renovation. Pretty much, it took a couple of years, but it's all finished now. A huge hotel, there's like 900 rooms there. Really, though, go and drop in, even if you're not staying there, and just soak up the historic ambience. It's an incredible place. They do a traditional high tea on Saturday and Sunday afternoons, so that's a great spot to while away the weekend hours.
Certainly is, and certainly would be. You're making me a bit